Adolf Hitler is remembered as the man who started World War II, but there is one controversial question that keeps resurfacing in history discussions. Did Hitler actually want peace, and did Churchill throw away the chance to end it? Some say this single decision cost millions of lives that never had to be lost. Today we go through the real events using historical records. To understand what really happened, we have to go back to September 1939. Germany invaded Poland and the war in Europe began. Within months, German forces swept through Denmark, Norway, Belgium, and the Netherlands. Then in May 1940, Hitler launched his invasion of France. In just 6 weeks, one of the strongest armies in Europe completely collapsed. By June, Germany controlled almost the entire coast of Western Europe. Britain now stood completely alone, facing the full weight of the German war machine. It was in this exact moment that Hitler made his next move. On July 19, 1940, Hitler stood before the German parliament and made an announcement. He said he saw no reason for the war to continue any further. He proposed that Britain could keep its entire empire completely intact. In exchange, Britain would accept German control over all of continental Europe. This was not the first time Hitler had made this argument. For years, he had spoken about Britain and Germany as what he called two Germanic brother nations. He believed both countries shared common ancestry, culture, and even racial origins. In his view, this made war between them a tragic mistake rather than a necessary conflict. Hitler often expressed genuine admiration for the British Empire and its global reach. He argued that Germany had no interest in destroying Britain or its overseas territories. To Hitler, continuing the war against Britain specifically felt like fighting a natural ally. For a brief moment, the entire world waited to see how Britain would respond. Churchill did not wait for any formal written proposal to arrive. Within days, the BBC broadcast Britain's answer, rejecting the offer completely. By this point, Hitler already controlled nearly the entire European continent. France was gone, Poland was gone, and most of Western Europe now answered to Berlin accepting peace. Now would mean recognizing that new reality as permanent. It would leave a hostile power in complete control just across the English Channel. Churchill believed no lasting peace was possible with an enemy that close and that strong. He argued that accepting these terms today only guaranteed a greater threat tomorrow. The offer was formally rejected without further negotiation. Some historians believe Hitler genuinely expected Britain to accept this time. After all of Europe had fallen so quickly, why would Britain be any different? Others argue the timing tells a different story entirely. Germany was already secretly preparing for an invasion of the Soviet Union. A peaceful Western Front would have let Hitler focus everything on the East. Seen this way, the offer looks less like diplomacy and more like a calculated pause. In Britain, reactions were far more divided than official statements suggested. Some newspapers openly questioned whether continuing the war was truly necessary. Working-class communities, exhausted by bombing raids, quietly wondered about a negotiated end. Churchill's own cabinet had debated the offer behind closed doors before rejecting it publicly. Within weeks of the rejection, Hitler shifted his strategy completely. He ordered the Luftwaffe to begin large-scale bombing raids across Britain. This campaign later became known as the Battle of Britain. Some historians believe this shift was already planned regardless of the peace offer's outcome. Others argue the rejection accelerated timelines that were still being finalized. Either way, the brief window for negotiation closed and open warfare took its place almost immediately. So did Hitler really want peace? The terms he offered were never a return to how Europe existed before the war. They demanded that Britain accept a continent already conquered and controlled by Germany. Churchill understood that accepting now only guaranteed a greater threat later. At the end of the day, England won the war, but victory came at a steep price. The empire Churchill had fought so hard to protect began collapsing almost immediately afterward. India gained independence just 2 years after the war ended. Colony after colony across Africa. The war had drained Britain's economy and its ability to hold on to global power. In some ways, the empire Hitler had offered to leave untouched fell apart anyway. Britain had won on the battlefield, but never fully recovered its former global position. This question will probably always remain controversial. Would accepting this deal have prevented the deaths of millions of people? Or would it have only delayed a war that was always going to happen? There is no simple answer, and historians still argue about it to this day. What would you have done in Churchill's position? Let me know in the comments below. Subscribe to Hidden Reich for the untold stories of World War II.